How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys having a great and exceptional day. So it's it's an interesting time to be alive. It's always a great time to be alive. Every day above ground is a great day. One person always says that is Corey um, from Fatherhood University. I had the pleasure of meeting him 2 years ago, and I really respect that because that's real talk. A lot of us don't do appreciation of being alive. I mean, I yesterday I had a hell on earth day, and today made it a little bit better. I lost my wallet, so I understand why now people don't keep wallets anymore because it's like I've never lost my phone, but losing my wallet, I've done that at least twice. So that's one thing to take into consideration. But so we live in a time, I always talk about this. We live in a time where if you're not trying to operate like a corporation, meaning working people trying to operate like a corporation, meaning that, hey, you have people who are CEOs, you have people who are executives, people who deal with the budget, people who hire and fire people, people who discuss benefits, people who discuss way forward in life. These are the things that matter the most right now, regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, mayor's house. Um, because no matter what state you live in, especially for working people, it's meant to work itself out. Like the big thing is during the pandemic, the two big states that people moved to was Texas and Florida. Okay, I have nothing against Texas and Florida. I actually like Texas more than Florida, my personal opinion. I've gone to Texas a multitude of times. I've been to all the major cities except for El Paso. I love Texas. Texas got a little spark to it. But I want to live there? No, it's just because I'm more of a West Coast kind of guy, but it's not, it's got nothing to do with political nonsense. I like mountains and palm trees, and Texas is flat. So, but Texas, especially Houston, that's my favorite city in Texas. Houston has a great vibe, great people, great food, all cultures, all backgrounds. Houston's my kind of town. But the thing is with the whole income state tax thing, it's a beautiful thing. But if you're still a regular working person, in the state of Texas, in the state of Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, all the cheaper states, you can still be put in a position to where you end up in the poorhouse. Now, I'll stick to Texas and Florida because those have been the biggest states that people flock to during the pandemic. And those are the main states that don't have income state taxes. Ironically, the state of Washington State, which is a very expensive state to live in, but Washington State doesn't have income state tax. But if you look at all the major metropolitan areas of Florida and Texas, just like any metropolitan area of any other state, regardless of who the governor is, regardless of who's in the White House, these metropolitan areas all over the country have become way, way more expensive. And if you even look at a place like Miami, Florida is almost just as expensive as New York City. As far as rent, cost of housing, it's insane. Like nobody's ever seen before. Cities like Dallas and Austin are becoming just as expensive as Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is a very expensive city. I'm from the DMV area. So only difference is the tax structure. But when it comes to your rents and your housing and whatnot, it's still very expensive. So as a coworker, not a friend of mine, a coworker once said, if you're not operating like a corporation, then you're going to be forever losing you're going to be losing a financial generation. Meaning, if the family's not operating like your friends and family, I always talk about this, friends and family operating like a corporation, meaning, hey, we're not just going to have jobs, pay bills, eat and die. No, what we're going to actually do is look outside the box and say, hey, who can we take a life insurance policy out on, and how can we utilize life insurance policies such as whole life insurance policy, universal insurance policies to benefit from it while we're alive, not just benefit from it while we're dead. Because that's the beauty of capitalism, that if you have the right mindset, you can benefit in various different ways. Excuse me. Then, hey, do we have our credit together? Are we going to purchase a multitude of real estate and not just live in one house? Are we going to register real estate in various different names so that way we can get various different loans? Hey, who's in the military? Who wants to join the military, do a good job of serving your country, and have the beautiful opportunity to get the benefits of being able to utilize the VA loan, Veteran Affairs loan, have the opportunity of being able to utilize small business administration, because veteran-owned businesses, if you want to own a business in the future, take priority over everyone else, women, minorities, etc., and so forth. Okay. Then, hey, be able to, with the VA loan, you'll be able to buy a house, no down payment. SBA loan, you'll be able to get great business loans at a beautiful rate, and the chances of you being told no get smaller and smaller by the banks. Hey, who in the family has a great skill set, or who in the circle of friends has a great skill set? Hey, if we put our resources together, we can get federal government contracts, state government contracts, city government contracts, and county government contracts. But we're operating as a team. I'm not going to act like I'm an economist, but I will say that capitalism works for those who have a team economic mindset. Like you look at, I'm just throwing out corporations here. Look out at Wells Fargo, they operate as a team. Look at Bank of America, they operate as a team. Look at Facebook, they operate as a team. Look at Twitter, they operate as a team. Everybody, and certain people say they operate as a gang, but they're operating as a legal gang. Because the most dangerous object in the world is the pen. It's not the gun. Because the biggest deals that happen in the world usually, or especially the Western world, is when somebody signs a piece of paper, not when somebody's shooting a gun. Both can be weapons. Both can be used for good and evil all at the same time. I'm not doing anti-gun stuff. I'm not doing anti-cap. I'm actually being pro-capitalistic, pro-American on all aspects of what I'm talking about. But do you have the mindset, and are you around the people that want to have these kind of discussions and implement things that are outside of having fun, playing video games, getting drunk, getting high, talking about sports, talking about who you sleeping with, all this juvenile stuff. Talk about back in the day all the time, all this nonsense. Do you have the right mindset? Are you willing to implement all that good stuff? Something to take into consideration, family. Something to take into consideration. All right, because the world we live in now, and this really goes into what I'm talking about tonight. The world we live in now, as to quote Martin Lawrence, one time making $100,000 meant something, but now, as Martin Lawrence would say back in the day, because I'm an 80s baby, he'd say 100K don't mean. I'm not going to cuss on here, but he had a very valid point, and I'm going to discuss it even more so. So, the article came out back in October, back in April of 2023, this year, when this video is being made. 300K is the new $100,000 in New York City. Here's how taxes and costs affect U.S. cities. 2023 study. Six-figure salaries have long been seen as the milestone for gauging success. The perk between the arduous grind of climbing the income ladder and breathing a deep sigh of relief. Those with $100,000 salaries earn more than double the median individual income for 2021, which might imply financial comfort on first glance. But when accounting for taxes and cost of living in America's largest cities, those six figures will figure much smaller. Now, the article leads in New York, because New York is one of the most expensive cities, not just in America, but in the freaking world. But if you look at cities like Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia, okay, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, soon Houston, Texas, not yet, but soon, which is the biggest city in the state of Texas. If you look at Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, all of California, clearly, but eventually Chicago and the Twin Cities in Minnesota, Minneapolis and St. Paul, Denver, Colorado. So all these cities, Philadelphia too, all these, Boston. So all these cities, Indianapolis, Indiana, Nashville, Tennessee. So for the political heads, blue states and red states, it doesn't matter. If it's in a major city or within an hour radius of a major city, we are in a time frame where 100K doesn't mean anything. Okay. Doesn't mean anything. And that's where we're going. The article says ultimately, to have the purchasing power of $100,000, you will have to earn a substantially higher salary. With this in mind, smart assets set out to determine the salary it takes to feel like $100,000 across the U.S. To do so, we analyzed annual salaries in 76 cities and adjusted them for taxes and cost of living to find the new $100,000. 3 cities require $300,000 plus to bring home the new $100,000. All right. Residents of Honolulu, New York City, and San Francisco, and like I said, that's not a big surprise, because even like Hawaii's not talked about how expensive it is. I think Hawaii is, if it's not the same as San Francisco, it's more expensive to live in Hawaii. Not like Hawaii has homeless camps everywhere. Like um, like a lot of Hawaiians, they come to the main, quote unquote, because they call the continental United States the mainland, to live so that they can have a better life. 9 times out of 10, they end up going to college in another state, or they end up going to the military. I remember I used to date a woman who was from Samoa, which is in the Pacific Islands, and she told me the same thing. Most people either go to college, or and they usually end up on the West Coast because it's the first flight in. They go to college, or they they join the military, and it makes sense. But San Francisco has been gentrified. New York has been gentrified. Excuse me. Of course, I would sneeze when I'm on live. All these cities have been gentrified, and they said you basically have to earn $300,000 to make it seem like you earn $100,000 in those cities to live a comfortable life. Because it says if you earn this amount, you're taxed, and then of course there are higher taxes in these cities, higher in the cost of living, more than 82% above the national average. Now this part of the article makes me laugh, so I'm going to talk about it. It says it's easiest to make it in Texas. Salaries in El Paso, well, of course El Paso, I mean, no disrespect to El Paso, but nobody thinks about moving to El Paso when they think of moving to Texas unless they're trying to retire. But El Paso, Corpus Christi, of course, Lubbock, wouldn't spit on Lubbock if it was on fire. Houston, that's my town. San Antonio is a nice town. Fort Worth and Arlington can be as low as $119,000 while feeling like a true $100,000. Texans at this income level hold on to an average of 5.7% points more of their annual salaries compared to states that charge income taxes, while the cost of living across Texas is generally lower than the national average. Now, I'm not disagreeing with that, but cities like Arlington, Texas, Dallas is being gentrified. It's not talked about enough. Arlington, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas is being gentrified. San Antonio, not so much. San Antonio is more of a country town, a nice military town. Lubbock, like I said, it's a smaller city. It's not a major city. Corpus Christi, it's a smaller city. It's not a major city. El Paso, it's a smaller city. It's not it's a city, but it's not. The biggest cities in Texas is Austin, Dallas, and Houston. All right. Houston, you can make $100,000 and semi be okay, but for the most part, you're still going to be most likely 40 minutes outside of the city as far as the city limits. So you have to bear in mind, I know Houston. I've been going to Houston religiously since 2013 for the last 10 years. So you can still live a decent lifestyle. Yes, you're not taxed as much and whatnot, but especially in today's housing market in 2023, as of July, you're going to pay way more, especially with the interest rates and things of that nature. So that's something you got to bear in mind. And of course, the article goes into California cities require the highest gross incomes in any state. I don't doubt. I mean, I know that. I know California, been going there for 11 years. San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and San Diego all require exceptionally high salaries to feel like it $100,000. In the Bay Area, for example, requires at least $147,000 in salaries for middle class comfort. In certain instances, you could still be in poverty at those kind of salaries. The article says, and this is how you can tell somebody who's biased, despite Miami's high cost of living, low taxes make it more affordable than big cities like Chicago, Sacramento, and Baltimore. I call shenanigans on that one, especially Baltimore. Baltimore is it's the last city on this. That's why I can read these articles and be like, no, I'm being objective because I'm from the DMV area. Baltimore, even with the taxes, is still lower. To buy a house, you can buy a house in Baltimore for less than you can in Miami. Okay. Sacramento, I agree with that. It's California is a one thing Florida and California have in common is they basically become unaffordable states. Only difference is California has more egregious taxes compared to Florida. So that's one thing I will agree with. All right. Chicago is not like Washington, D.C. It's expensive for Midwest standards. It has high taxes for Midwest standards, but it's still not low. The cost of living in Chicago is still lower than it is in Miami. Miami has become a city for millionaires and billionaires. So let's just cut the nonsense on this one. Okay. Miami's become the city of people you know not only have to be in that category of millionaire and billionaire, but you better be able to own your own boat, own your own plane. You know, Miami's that kind of city. The only difference is, yes, they don't have egregious taxes, but Miami's a great example. Atlanta's a great example, and Nashville is a great example of cities where you can have little to no taxes and still be overpriced cities. Now, like I said, I'm not going to but like I said, I highly 100% disagree about the Baltimore thing. You can still buy a house in Baltimore for under $100,000. You can't buy nothing in Miami for under $100,000. So that's why I call the shenanigans on this. Okay, definitely call the shenanigans on this. And like I said, even with even great example, why buy real estate at in Berks County and whatnot? High taxes, yes, but I can buy a house in Berks County for $70,000, $100,000. Cannot buy that in Miami. Okay. So, hell, I even said online, heck, I got mortgages in Berks County, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, that are less than $400 a month. You can't rent anything in Miami, not even a bedroom in Miami for under $400 a month. I'm talking 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom townhomes. As they say down south, now run tell that. Because at the end of the day, so cities where regular working people most likely are going to end up, it's not it's not even the major cities in the South. Now, this article is going to talk about these specific cities that I will agree with. Now, if you're making $100,000, yes, you will live comfortably in Memphis, Tennessee. You will live comfortably in El Paso, Texas. You will live comfortably in Oklahoma City, but who wants to go there? My brother from another mother has family from Oklahoma, and I have the same sentiment as him. He's saying I wouldn't spit on Oklahoma if it was on fire. Corpus Christi, yes, I could see that. Lubbock, Texas, I could see that. Houston, it talks about the most populous Texas city. Houston is home to large companies so it's breaking down to different companies and whatnot. So Texas City is on the outskirts of Houston. All right. So Texas City, yes. Within the Houston city limits, no. $100,000 doesn't take you as far as it used to, even with the lack of taxes. Now, when it talks about Arlington to Fort Worth, Dallas, you have like maybe a couple of years left to be able to say, yeah, I make 100K and I'm gonna live pretty good in those specific areas because the cost of living is going to go up. San Antonio, yeah, 100K can still get you by in San Antonio. St. Louis, Missouri, yes, 100K can get you by. So with those cities, I agree with 100%. You know, but in most West Coast and East Coast city, yeah, you're gonna have to make up to $300,000, or you're gonna have to end up having a multitude of people live with you. So that's something I definitely do agree on. So the certain parts of the article that I agree with, and the certain parts of the article I don't agree with, because a great example, I was in Jackson, Mississippi. It's a country city, so there's not much to it. You know, there's not much to it. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. I mean, it has all the basic necessities one would want, but it's kind of a boring town. It doesn't really scream excitement to me. But a lot of people don't want excitement. A lot of people want to live a basic, boring life. There's nothing wrong with that. Because my mindset is where you live, you should be happy about where you're at. You should be happy about the things you're doing, et cetera, and so forth. Excuse me. I might get caught mouth most when I start talking on live and whatnot. And it's been a minute since I've done this, but then as I always say before I even end this off, as I always say, a lot of young people, I see them, especially with the digital world, a lot more people will be moving to countries that are 10 times cheaper than anywhere in the United States of America. That's 10 times cheaper than Texas, 10 times cheaper than Louisiana, Mississippi, because it's just the world is more global than it ever has become. And a lot of these young people, that's why a lot of these young people want certain jobs in the future, because they cannot wait to travel. I myself am finally going to leave the United States. I mean, I'm going to Canada. It's like America Part Two. But I myself am finally going to say, hey, it's, finally see something different and go from there. And I admire and respect the younger people that'll say, hey, I got the passport, like the passport bros. Even though I don't a lot of the generous stuff that they get into. I respect people going to other countries and actually doing something fruitful outside of just trying to have sex and floss on the internet. Learning about different cultures, engaging in intelligent conversations, building businesses and building networks, things of that nature. If you're doing that if you're living abroad, then I respect you. So this one article came out in February of this year, 2023. Gentleman says, I quit my job at JP Morgan after entering a state of mental chaos. Here's how I found a new career I'm passionate about. Because the thing I always say is, you want to be able to live to survive. Excuse me. You want to be comfortable. But the thing is, and a great person told me this, very religious and spiritual person, but she made a great statement. She said, and I quote, there's too many people walking around here unhappy in the world right now. They're not happy. They might have the money, they might not have the money, but they are not happy. They're struggling up here in the mind. They're not happy. They're not living a life. They're not, as whether you love Joel Osteen or hate Joel Osteen. One of my favorite sayings from him, he said, a lot of people are not living their best life right now. My personal opinion is I think the pandemic made a lot of things better for certain people and made life a lot worse for other people. Like a good Samaritan found my wallet yesterday and made my life so much better. So I'm forever thankful to the man who found my wallet and returned it to me, rode his bicycle to my house to return my wallet to me. I'm thankful. But anyways, let me get back on course. The gentleman name is Chimin Chang, who's 30 years old, founder of Nuti. He says, I didn't always want to purchase finance. I really have a burning passion for, person. I didn't always want to pursue finance. I didn't really have a burning passion for anything growing up. I wanted to do well in school and I liked the idea of being good at something, but I also just wanted to have fun. Who doesn't, right? At one point, I considered becoming a doctor since that's what my father wanted for me. But even then, I thought about the commitment needed and shielded away from it. Plus, the fact that I am scared of blood didn't help. I know that's right. Same here. He says, as my university years were approaching, I eventually told my dad about my hesitations about becoming a doctor. He says, my family and I brainstormed for a different career path, and I ended up with economics because I was good at math. People always told me that economics would lead to good career in finance or consulting. So I was happy to give it a try. It wasn't too difficult and I was good at it. So it felt like the natural choice. I spent a year at the University of College, at the University College London, studying economics and transferred to Oxford after his first year. He says, I eventually returned home to Hong Kong from China and started working for JP Morgan as a finance analyst. He stated, and I quote, in the beginning, I thought the job was everything that I wanted. Now, first, this is an unfortunate path for most people, especially in certain cultures and certain societies. Because, having to be the best of the best, having to have the top grades, it can drive you crazy. Because not everybody's going to be number one in any society. Not everybody's going to be number one. Not everybody is meant to live a lifestyle that everybody else wants to live. That's why I say you find your tribe, you find your clique, you find your gang, whatever I call it, find your team. And surround yourself with people like that, because those are people that are going to make you and break you, and you're going to make and break them. Period. That's why I'm going to EYL University. I'm not going to Atlanta to the party next month. I'm going to Atlanta to turn up mentally, to engage with people who are talking about making economic moves. He says, growing up, I didn't live a luxurious lifestyle, which was why I wanted to experience a more comfortable lifestyle with my new salary. I'm not talking about buying crazy things like expensive watches and cars. I simply wanted to buy nice clothes and eat at restaurants when I felt like it. On top of that, the job itself was exciting and fun. As a young person just out of university, I sat in front of 7 screens at work and interacted with smart people daily. The experience was powerful, challenging, and different. He says, I like my job, but it was too stressful and I did a lot of partying. The work was very stressful since I had to be fully focused for 12 hours a day. God bless you. I started work at 7 a.m., read the overnight news to flag anything notable for clients and make sure client orders were approved to trade ahead of the market opening. He says I'd spend the day reacting to client requests and queries and having lunch or meetings with clients if needed. Once the market closed, I'd write reports summarizing the day's movements, and then there'd be more client events in the evenings. It was high speed. It was a high paced lifestyle. Going for drinks with colleagues was the norm after work, but it didn't bother me in the beginning since I loved partying back then. But he says I felt like I was on a hamster wheel. Then my dad died. And a lot of times when a family member passes away, it does put things into perspective for you. That's one thing I can say with sincerity. When my dog died 2 years ago, it put life into perspective. And I have zero patience for anybody that wants to bring drama into my life. And it's even worse now. I have zero patience to be around people that are not fun, that aren't bringing good information to me, who aren't helping me make money, who aren't trying to help me become a better person, because that's what I want for everybody else. All right. He says wasn't until 2 years into the job that I started questioning whether finance was something I wanted to do long term. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel with no time to process my emotions or desires. Even though, however, it was easier to ignore those feelings because the job provided me with daily comforts and career paths was laid out and straightforward. That's why quitting was never really on the agenda until my dad unexpectedly passed away. He says, so he decided So he says his passing hit me hard and happened around the time that I broke off a long term relationship with his ex girlfriend. He says I shut myself away and didn't spend much time with friends because I was in a state of mental chaos. He says I decided to quit my job as a way of resetting. I had some money saved up and I knew I could rely on that for a bit. I wanted to get to a state where I felt mentally and physically strong and healthy. So I decided to head to San Sebastian in Spain. Okay, so he went someplace else in the world. His daily routine was simple. In the morning, go surfing, grocery shopping at the local market, and then he cooked nutritious lunch. In the afternoon, he read books, watched Netflix, or go to another workout, aka living a good life. Slowly but surely, I saw a huge difference in myself after months of cutting alcohol constantly, exercising, eating good quality food, and resting while I felt completely transformed. And it's called help being more healthy too, because working too much, drinking, smoking too much, it's detrimental to us all. Period. It is what it is. He says that was what spurred his decision to create a product that would help others feel rejuvenated from good health. He said he found Nuti, a fast functional food company. After a while, he began to collaborate with companies such as Google, Rosewood, and Soho House, and even had pop up booths at street markets and food halls in Hong Kong. Fast forward to today, 2 years later since launching Nuti, and he has 7 full-time staff and another 5 part-timers helping out regularly. He says if you're in a job you no longer enjoy, take a step back and figure out what you're passionate about. He says compared to my parents' generation, millennials and Gen Zers believe that having a connection to our work is a bigger factor. I don't want people to believe finance or corporate jobs are careers that people have to get out of, though. It depends on what you want. I couldn't agree with that statement more. It's all about what you want in this life. And everybody, a lot of people love having a regular 9 to 5. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like having a basic life, going to work, coming home, taking care of their kids, and that's that. There's nothing wrong with that. But then a lot of people don't. For a lot of people, that's death. For a lot of people, they'd rather die. And I'll just leave it at that. He says if you're unhappy with your career, take a step back. Um, and ask yourself, are you working too many hours? Are you doing something that you don't enjoy? Are you not getting on with your team? Are you not getting along with your team? Give yourself time to think about what you've already enjoyed and what's been a constant throughout your life. Maybe your unhappiness at your job is a matter of your interest no long aligning with the work, in which case you have to decide whether your passion outweighs the benefits that your current job offers. Don't be distracted by what's trending or cool. If you create something that really embodies your values, then your passion will drive you to constantly improve and elevate. And at the end of the day, I always say if you're passionate about something, you never work a day in your life. You truly don't, But most people aren't. And I think when I heard that statement a couple of weeks ago, excuse me, from a friend, I think very truly and surely that unfortunately most people are just not passionate about their lifestyle. They just work, go home, binge on Netflix. Now they're not working out, they're not traveling, they're not engaging with people that have the same mindsets. They're just doing the basic stuff, and for a lot of time, or they're just struggling. They have a crappy boss. They can't stand who they're married to. They can't stand who they're in a relationship with. And a lot of times, to really end this off, a lot of times, honesty and speaking your mind is the best action in this life. Too many times, people just like to shut off and not speak. Too many times, and when they do this, unfortunately, it gets in their head. And the more you allow something to fester in your mind, the more you allow it to grow and rumble, and then it bubble up, and then you explode like a freaking volcano. So I could be classified as a nice person, but then I could be classified as a jerk. Why? Jerk. Why? Because I like to speak my mind. Now I don't just come out and cuss people out and come out and call people idiots. No. But if I feel a certain type of way about a situation, I'm going to express myself in some sort of a manner. Too many people hold on to this fantasy that they know is never going to happen. Too many people hold on to people that they're hoping in for the better and a change. And a lot of times you just have to accept people for who they are. A lot of times people don't want to hear that, but you have to accept people for who they are and go from there. All right. People are going to make mistakes. People can change, but people have to want to change. If you don't like the life you're living, the main reason why I read this article, because like if you don't like the life you're living, change your lifestyle. If you don't like your job, change your job. If you don't want to work for anybody, figure out a way that you can become an entrepreneur. But it's really connecting with people who have, I like to call it the corporate mindset, meaning that, or the CEO mindset. Everybody is a CEO of their own life. So everybody has a CEO mindset one way or the other, whether you have a job or you're an entrepreneur. But it's all about thinking outside of the box. At the end of the day, that's literally what it's all about. So on that note, hopefully you guys have a great night. Tomorrow is Friday. This week is going by fast. This month is going by fast, if I can be just completely honest with you. So, but it's all good. Yeah, it's like next thing you know, we're going to be in August. So I'll be going out one time, and after that, I'll be going to Canada. So like I said, I'll go live this weekend. I'm not gonna take all my equipment with me to Canada. So I'll do my my lives on Instagram and all that good stuff. But outside of that, I'm good. So I'll leave it at that. But hey, it's all good in the neighborhood. Do the great three things. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys have a great day. And as I always say, make money move, so you're gonna live like a fool. Enjoy your life. Do what you got to do and keep it simple. But the moral of the story here is stop playing around with your life. It's time for you to live your best life. And it's time for you to go from there. Because trust me, this life is going to go by quicker than you think. I'm 40 years old now. I never thought I would be at this age at this point right now. And it's just like the time. And like I said, honestly, the pandemic made life go by way faster than it needed to go. It felt, the first couple of months, it felt like things were going like this. But then after 2020, everything has gone like that. Just like that. So, but I leave it at that. I keep it simple and I leave it at that. So hopefully you guys have a great day. As I always say, Take care. Make money move. Well, operate like a corporation, or you're gonna live like a fool. Take care.
Mike, now. Mike, now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc., and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc., and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program, and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day.